Have you ever felt like you're playing some kind of financial game, but you can't win? Like you're working way harder than your parents ever did, but you just keep falling further and further behind? Well, today we're going to talk about that exact feeling, because it's not just in your head. It is a very real paradox of our modern economy. And trust me, understanding it is the first step to finally beating it.
Henry Ford said that almost 100 years ago, and somehow it feels more true today than ever before. It kind of suggests that there are these gears turning behind the curtain, hidden rules to the system that are impacting our lives every single day, whether we see them or not. And today, we are going to pull back that curtain and look at one of the biggest rules of them all.
So that feeling of being financially stuck, of just waiting for some kind of rescue that might not even be coming, well, it actually has a name. It's a modern thing called the Prince Charles paradox. Okay, so what is it? Get this, for the first time really in modern history, young people are, statistically speaking, poorer than their parents were at the same age. All the wealth is getting concentrated with the older generations. And yeah, that means many people will inherit something, but they'll get it when they're near retirement themselves. It's like being handed the crown, but it's way too late to use that money to build your own kingdom.
So how on earth did we get here? Well, this wasn't some slow, gradual accident. Nope. It was a decision. There was a single moment in time when the fundamental rules of money were completely rewritten for the entire world. Just look at this timeline. Back in 1950, a house was, affordable. But the date you really need to focus on is August 15th, 1971. That was the day the US dollar was officially cut loose from gold. It might sound like some boring, technical change, but it kicked off the economic reality that every single one of us is living in today.
And this slide right here shows you everything. Before 1971, money was backed by a real physical thing, gold. There was a hard limit to how much of it could be created. But after 1971, the US government basically said, nope, we're done with that. And just like that, we entered the age of fiat currency, which is just a fancy way of saying money that's backed by, well, nothing more than faith in the government that prints it.
This had two huge, and I mean huge, consequences. First, inflation. With no gold anchor, money can be created out of thin air, and the more money there is, the less each dollar is worth. It's like a silent tax that eats away at your savings and your paycheck. Second, it created a debt-based system. Our whole economy now needs to take on more and more debt just to keep the lights on. So the bottom line is, you're starting out in a game that's literally designed around debt and dilution.
Okay, so that's the big picture problem. Now let's bring it down to the personal level and see how this system creates a trap, one that so many of us fall right into, usually by following what sounds like really good advice.
We all know a James, right? Someone who played by all the rules, worked the same job for decades, got the retirement watch, but is still stuck. He has to keep working, not because he loves it, but because he has to. He's trapped by his own financial choices, mostly by owning things that drain his bank account instead of filling it.
Which leads me to a question that might sound a little crazy. We're all taught that buying a house is the cornerstone of the American dream, right? The best investment you'll ever make. But what if that's dead wrong?
Okay, look at this simple definition. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out of it. Simple as that. So think about your primary home. With the mortgage, the property taxes, the insurance, the repairs, which column does it really belong in? Every single month, it takes money out of your pocket.
And here's the real killer. When you pour every dime you have into a down payment on a house, you violate the single most powerful rule of building wealth. You take your biggest pile of cash and you stop its ability to compound and grow. You literally interrupt the wealth-building process right when it's supposed to get going.
Okay, so the system is tough. The common advice might be a trap. I know it sounds pretty bleak, but stick with me, because this is where the story completely flips. This is where not having a safety net can actually become your greatest strength.
If you aren't waiting around for a big inheritance, if you know deep down that nobody is coming to rescue you, you develop something incredibly powerful. You develop self-reliance. You learn how to solve your own problems. You stop hoping for a handout and you start building for yourself. And guess what? That is the exact mindset of the world's greatest investors.
And there is no better example of this than the master himself. Warren Buffett is the ultimate case study. He didn't sit around waiting for some crown to be passed down to him. He decided to go out and build his own.
And he didn't start with some complicated spreadsheet or a giant fund.
He started by literally going door to door, making a tiny 2-cent profit on packs of chewing gum. The lesson here is that you just have to start. It doesn't matter how small.
Every one of those 2-cent profits was like another little flake of snow being added to his snowball. He'd just roll it, reinvest it, and let that snowball pick up more and more snow. That's the power of compounding in action, starting small and just letting it grow and grow and grow.
And this is the secret. Real wealth isn't the flashy car, the giant house. That's not wealth, that's just spending. Real wealth is the factory, the stock portfolio, the business. It's the assets you don't see that are quietly working to make you money, even while you're asleep.
So, you're probably asking, okay, great, how do I actually do this? How do I stop waiting around and start building my own snowball? Well, it comes down to a few core principles.
3 simple but incredibly powerful steps. 1. Avoid what they call cigar butts. It's this image of finding an old cigar on the street with maybe one good puff left in it. In investing, it just means don't chase cheap, junky, get-rich-quick schemes. You'll almost always get burned. 2. Be patient. Seek a margin of safety. That just means you wait for an opportunity to buy a great thing for way less than it's actually worth. And 3, and this is the most important one, remember the real goal. It's not just about getting more money. It's about buying back your time. It's about buying your freedom.
And does this really work? Well, a case study of one guy, we'll call him Tom, followed these exact principles. He didn't retire at 65. He retired at 43. He bought back decades of his life while everyone else was still grinding away.
So yeah, this system might be flawed, but your ultimate weapon is the unstoppable force of compounding. And the way you unleash that power is so simple. Pay yourself first. Before the rent, before the bills, before your morning coffee, a piece of your income goes straight to your assets. You build your future first.
Now, of course, this is a way to think about things, not specific financial advice. The most important step of all is you have to take responsibility. You have to educate yourself, and always do your own research before you put a single dollar into anything.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The Prince Charles paradox. It's real, but it does not have to be your story. The choice is yours. Are you going to keep waiting for that crown that might show up way too late? Or are you going to start building your own empire, one snowball at a time, starting today?